The silence on the dais was suffocating, broken only by the faint hum of the ceremonial hall's energy conduits. Captain Elias Varrick shifted uncomfortably in his crisp uniform, the galaxy's brightest spotlight glaring down on him. Rows of Zalari dignitaries, tall, luminous figures with expressions carved from stone, stared back at him with unsettling intensity. He cleared his throat, wishing words came more easily. Any words would do. "Well, this is unexpected," he finally said, gesturing toward the towering figure standing beside him. Unexpected didn't begin to cover it. She was silver-skinned, veins glowing faintly like rivers of light across her arms and temples. Her posture was flawless, her expression unreadable. If she found the moment humiliating or absurd, she gave no sign. "Captain Varrick," intoned the Zalari High Chancellor, her voice carrying through the chamber like a resonant bell. "In gratitude for your bravery in saving our people, the Council bestows upon you this gift. May she serve you well." A ripple of approval swept through the chamber, though Elias caught sharp, disapproving glances flickering among the crowd. Clearly, not everyone agreed with the decision, but no one had asked him. Rejecting such a gift could torpedo the alliance he had risked his life to secure. Thank you," Elias said, forcing a smile. He turned to her. "Do you come with an instruction manual?" he muttered under his breath. Her lips twitched, barely, but it was there. "No, Captain," she replied, her voice like liquid steel. "But I assure you, I am very user-friendly." It was the closest thing to humor he'd heard from her all day. Not exactly comforting. Back aboard the stalwart Endeavor, his patched-together starship, the mood was less formal. His crew, a ragtag mix of humans and aliens, greeted Sartha's arrival with the kind of enthusiasm reserved for malfunctioning cargo drones. "So, is she bunking with the rest of us, or does she get her own fancy alien quarters?" asked Arden, Elias's wiry first mate, notorious for bad jokes. "Quarters are negotiable," Elias muttered. "What isn't negotiable is professionalism, Arden. Think you can manage that for 5 minutes? I'll give it my best shot, Captain."
"No promises."
Sarth tilted her head, observing the crew's dynamics like a scientist cataloging insects. "You run a tight ship," she remarked dryly. "Don't encourage him," Elias sighed. The tension was undeniable. Whether she meant to or not, Sarth was a disruption. Over the next days she drifted through the ship like a phantom. Engine room, mess hall, even the cramped recreation deck. She seemed to appear wherever she shouldn't, watching with unsettling precision. During one of Arden's exaggerated retellings of their last mission, complete with wild hand gestures and conveniently edited heroics, Sarth slipped into the room. And then boom! Plasma cannon right through the pirate leader's ship, Arden declared. "You missed the first shot," Sarth corrected from the corner. Arden nearly dropped his cup. "Whoa! Where did you come from?" "Engineering," she replied, unbothered. "But please continue. I'm fascinated by your ability to rewrite history." The crew's laughter broke some of the tension. Elias, leaning against the doorway, watched with a mix of amusement and unease. Sarth wasn't simply observing them. She was studying them, and he couldn't shake the feeling she was more than the Council had admitted. It wasn't until a routine supply run that Elias's suspicions sharpened into certainty. While the crew hauled crates of or from a mining outpost, Sarth wandered into the cockpit. Her luminous eyes traced every dial, every readout, like she could see more in the tangled web of controls than any engineer. "Impressive," she murmured, her fingers hovering dangerously close to the navigation console. "Human ships have come a long way." "Careful," Elias warned, stepping up beside her. "Touch the wrong thing and you'll eject us into hyperspace." She raised a brow. "Would that be a bad thing?" "Depends how attached you are to not being atomized." Her lips curved just slightly into something like a smile. Almost. But then her fingertips brushed the edge of the console and Elias swore he saw something flicker. Data streamed across the display, too fast to follow, then vanished. "Hey, what was that?" he demanded. "What was what?" she asked, already stepping away. Suspicion gnawed at him. Sarth wasn't just a gift, and she sure as hell wasn't just a servant. She was hiding something. The question was how much and how dangerous it might be. Over the following days, his unease grew. Sarth blended into the crew's routines with unnerving ease. She learned everyone's habits, their jokes, their moods, even the way they worked. And sometimes, just sometimes, she nudged those routines, as though she were quietly steering the ship in ways no one else noticed. That unease crystallized into alarm when the Endeavor intercepted a distress call. "All hands to stations," Elias barked as the crackling transmission came through. The source was an unregistered station drifting in the Karos Belt, a notorious haven for pirates and smugglers. "Captain," Sarth said calmly, "this could be a trap." "It probably is," Elias admitted, strapping into the command chair. "But I'm not in the habit of ignoring distress calls." "An admirable trait," she replied. "Also a fatal one. I'll take my chances. You volunteering to write my epitaph?" "I already have a draft." Arden snorted at that, though no one missed the glint of seriousness in her eyes. The station was a wreck when they arrived. Docking bays scorched, lights flickering. Inside, the air was thick with ozone and the promise of violence. The crew spread out cautiously, weapons ready. It didn't take long to find survivors. Terrified refugees huddled in a cargo bay. "We've got civilians," Elias reported. Then a metallic clang split the silence. A plasma rifle whined to life. "Pirates!" someone shouted. The firefight erupted instantly, plasma bolts tearing through the shadows. Elias fought hard, his crew holding the line, but they were outnumbered. It would have gone very badly, until the station's security systems suddenly roared to life. Shields activated, doors slammed shut, and pirate reinforcements were cut off. Back aboard the Endeavor, breathless and bruised but alive, Elias turned to Sarth. "Nice work. Didn't know you had a knack for hacking." Her amber eyes fixed on him, unreadable. "There's a great deal you don't know about me, Captain." "That," Elias muttered, "is becoming painfully obvious." That night, whiskey in hand, he replayed the day in his quarters. Sartha's precision, her control, none of it was coincidence. She wasn't merely clever. She was something else entirely. Something dangerous. A knock at his door broke the thought. Sarth stepped in, her presence as calm as ever. "You're not what you seem," Elias said flatly. "Neither are you," she replied without hesitation. Her gaze held his sharp as a blade. Then softer, "Though I'd wager your secrets are far less interesting than mine." Elias raised his glass in a mock toast. "Guess we'll see, won't we?" Her enigmatic smile returned, faint and dangerous. "Indeed, Captain, we will." The stalwart Endeavor drifted in orbit around Aros 7, a lush world wrapped in turquoise clouds. Markets, orbital docks, and bustling traffic below made it one of the rare places where Zalari and humans coexisted without bloodshed. Elias leaned on the bridge console, studying the planet. "You've been quiet," he said. "I wasn't aware you required constant commentary," Sarth replied smoothly. "You've got that look," Elias pressed. "The one that says you're either planning something or regretting something. Not sure which is worse." Her eyes lingered on the viewport. When she finally spoke, her voice carried an edge of softness. "Aros 7 is significant to my people. A rare place of peace. For me, complicated." Before Elias could probe, Arden's voice crackled over comms. "Captain, we've got a visitor. Shuttle on approach. Looks very official." Moments later, a Zalari envoy strode into the hangar, robes glittering like spun silver. Her stern gaze lingered on Sarth longer than on Elias. "I bring a message from the High Council," she announced, producing a sealed data crystal. "Its contents are for your eyes only, Captain. But I will say this, your recent acquisition is a matter of concern." Her eyes flicked toward Sarth once more before she turned on her heel and left. Alone in his quarters, Elias decrypted the crystal. A distorted voice filled the air. "Captain Varrick, The individual gifted to you is no mere servant. She is an operative, a key figure in a classified initiative. Her presence is privilege and danger. Use caution. The words landed like weights. Elias closed the hollow just as Arden barged in with a tray of snacks. You look like hell. What's the secret? Nothing you need to worry about. Arden raised an eyebrow. You're terrible at lying. Elias didn't answer. He already knew where he'd find her. In the engine room, Sartha's hands hovered over the controls. Lines of alien code streamed faster than human eyes could process. Should I be concerned? Elias asked from the doorway. Not unless you oppose efficiency, she said calmly. Your ship's power grid is archaic. That's polite. Elias stepped closer. Care to explain why the High Council thinks you're dangerous? Her fingers stilled. She turned, eyes unreadable. They fear what I know, what I can do, and perhaps what I've already done. Elias felt the weight of those words. You'll have to be more specific. I can't. Not yet. Frustration boiled in his chest, but her calm steadied him. Nothing worth understanding is ever easy, Captain, she said with a faint smile. Take comfort. You're handling this far better than most humans would. Elias chuckled despite himself. High praise. I'll take it. Still, the questions gnawed at him, louder with every passing hour. The stalwart endeavor burned through the void, faster and steadier than it had in years. Sartha's modifications had transformed the aging vessel into something almost alive, and the crew rode its newfound strength toward a dangerous mission. Their destination. An uncharted sector where a rogue faction of the High Council was plotting to shatter the fragile alliance. You're sure about this? Elias asked. As sure as one can be when facing treachery, corruption, and likely certain death, Sarth replied evenly. A trace of humor slipped through. But if it helps, your optimism is refreshingly naive. The rogue station loomed into view, jagged metal arms clawing at the void, lights pulsing like a beast's heartbeat. A voice crackled over comms. Unidentified vessel. State your purpose. Elias leaned forward, grin sharp as a blade. Captain Elias Varrick, here to deliver a strongly worded complaint. Care to open the door? Silence. Then the voice returned, taut with disbelief. You're either brave or stupid, Captain. Bit of both. Elias cut the line. Subtle, Sarth remarked, her eyes glinting. Subtlety's overrated. The assault began in fire and fury. Plasma bolts lit the corridors as Elias and his crew carved forward, guided by Sartha's uncanny foresight. She wasn't merely leading them. She was outpacing them, as if the station were already mapped in her mind. At the heart of the complex, the betrayer counselors waited. Estich, one sneered, venom dripping from the name. You've returned. You made me what I am, Sarth answered, her voice ringing like a blade drawn. You thought you could control me. You were wrong. Another counselor spat. And now you are a pawn to a human captain? Elias raised his pistol. Pawn's a strong word. I prefer, reluctantly tolerated coworker. The chamber erupted into chaos. The crew fought desperately while Sarth moved like a storm, energy blazing from her hands, a fusion of Zalari biology and something else. Something no council could ever hope to cage. The rogue leaders fell, their plans in ashes. But victory came at a cost. The station's core destabilized, tearing itself apart. We need to move, Elias shouted, dragging Sarth toward the exit. They barely escaped as the station imploded in a blaze of light. Back on the Endeavor, silence reigned until Arden exhaled. Well, I guess subtlety really is overrated. Laughter broke the tension. But later, in the quiet of the observation lounge, Elias found Sarth gazing into the stars. You didn't have to stay, he said softly. You could have left when it was over. And go where? She asked. For the first time, her expression softened. All my life I was what others made me. For once I have a choice. Perhaps I've grown fond of your optimism. Careful, Elias teased. People might think you actually like us. Don't push your luck, Captain. They sat in companionable silence as the galaxy stretched wide before them. Whatever came next, Elias knew one thing. Neither of them was who they had been when this began. Together, they had carved something new, and in a shifting galaxy that was a victory worth holding on to.